Welcome back to This Is Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Now with me in the studio, I have Professor David Aworawo, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos, and Jide Ologun, legal practitioner, national development advocate, and fellow, Institute of Leadership Coaching and Strategy. Gentlemen, good to see you again this Sunday. Thank you for keeping faith. Well, very quickly, we have had three guests. We had Ejo Nikoko, SAN, who was looking at the judgment of the Supreme Court on the matter of a state of emergency. And then he was saying that their lordships, the majority decision, was the right thing to do. And that now we have a historic precedent and an explanation on what had been a gray area for months. So I tried to raise all the issues about delay, about, the fact that it was a bench judgment. He says, well, we shouldn't worry. We'll get the reasons by February latest or January. And it was generally saying, look, the dissenting opinion may not matter much. Because I was saying, well, maybe the dissenting opinion may be more compelling. I raised the issue about abuse. He said, there are legislative oversights, temporal limitation, judicial review, and all of that. Now, second, we had Mr. Dankunle. Alhaji Aliko Dangote is supposed to be with the ICPC tomorrow to come and provide evidence to back up his allegations against Farouk Ahmed. Or he could send a representative. So we looked at that, and the fact that, Farouk Ahmed resigning, Gbenga Komolafe also resigning, and, we seem to have both agreed that Komolafe suffered collateral damage. And then what should be the priorities for these new persons? In the light of Senator Adams Oshomole's intervention on the floor of the Senate when they were being screened. And then, of course, all the other issues about supporting local manufacturing and all of that. We looked at the budget very quickly and the benchmarks. We looked at the tax laws, and he said that, look, those tax laws are important. Nobody likes to pay tax. They will look for one reason or the other. But since somebody has raised some issues, well, the government should act very quickly and look at the issues that have been raised. And I was making the point that, look, these lawmakers, they have the vote book. They can publish their own version of it. But the thing, of course, is that, he said the reform is very important and it will be to the benefit of Nigerians. Finally, Aaron Akrejola, our sports correspondent, who will be on his way to Morocco shortly to cover the African Cup of Nations, looked at matters arising with regard to AFCON, which starts today. First match between Morocco and Comoros, and then, of course, Nigeria playing Tanzania on Tuesday, and whether the Super Eagles are good enough or not, and whether we should be owing our coach salaries and all of that. And then the matter with DR Congo. Let me start with you, Professor Aworawo.
Yeah, I will just go in that order. I personally don't agree with Owonikoko's son. I hope his position is not influenced by the person in power now and whom he supports. I wonder if someone else were in power, he would have maintained the same position, but that is neither
You are questioning his integrity.
Yeah, not integrity. I mean, people have their loyalties, they have their, where they lean to, and that tends to, affect the interpretation of things sometimes. I am of the view that the Supreme Court ruling, the judgment, it does not align with constitutional provisions as far as we can see or read. And you made a couple of those points when you were, maybe playing the devil's advocate, as they say, trying to ask and probe, what about this, what about that, what about abuse and all. I'm not sure the Constitution provides for the president to suspend governors and all. And again, to make the distinction between when there is enough violence threat to Nigeria's security to warrant declaring state of emergency. I've always maintained, and I think that is the right thing to do, what President Jonathan did when he declared his own state of emergency and left all the structures in place. They worked together to tackle that problem of insecurity as at that time. To my mind, that is the right course of action. But yeah, so I agree with the dissenting position, not the main one. But let's wait and see how things unfold. Although some other lawyers have tried to interpret, reinterpret here and there that, if you read the judgment very carefully, it's not how we think. But from the pronouncement, it is obvious that it's either the president has the power to, remove governors and all that, when it threats against the state or security, there's a breakdown of law and order, or not. So I don't quite agree with Ologun on this matter, but let's see how things, things continue to unfold, countries continue to reinvent themselves. So we hope that Nigeria will be able to reinvent itself as far as this is concerned. Now, the tax law, well, again, people are apprehensive, really. People think that it will be overtaxed come January 1st, 2026. Well, the government is saying, don't worry, take it easy. It's in the interest of everybody. But again, let's see how it goes. But just the note of warning is that Nigerians are already groaning under this current, economic dispensation. And more taxes, as obviously the new tax law would exact. Let's see the scale and extent. I was at a retreat the other week, and the accountant was informing people that come January, your salary will likely be less. Don't bother to come to me. We've calculated everything, and we know that more money will be taken from you. They have looked at it and seen how the new tax law will affect workers in that particular organization. So, but as I've always said, you can only tax what people earn. So increasing productivity is the way to go. If productivity increases, people can live well. I'm not sure people will bother much about the tax they pay. But when the money is not even enough and the little that is there, you are coming to collect it. And those collecting it are living large, as you can see from those in the presidency, legislature, and the rest, and everybody else is left behind. As you can see also from the way the subsidy windfall, so to speak, has been managed. You won't blame people if they are a bit apprehensive when they hear of higher taxes. As to the two versions, one version approved, passed by Senate or by Parliament, another version gazetted, where they need to put those two versions side by side and see whether there's any discrepancy. It's not something I think they should fight each other about. It's something they should resolve if there are issues. Two arms of government, but the same government. That is my advice. If there are discrepancies, people in government are saying, whatever, it's too late to make any amend. No, it shouldn't be that. If what Parliament actually passed is not what has been gazetted, of course, they have to return to what was,
A law is a living document.
Yes.
It can be amended.
Exactly.
When you implement it, you test it. If there are issues, you go back to the same legislature.
As simple as that.
Yeah, it's very simple.
The issue of take it or leave it, I don't think that's the right, on both sides, really. Then the oil and gas people who, Farouk Ahmed, right?
Yes, Farouk Ahmed.
I'm really surprised. And I want to really say that I'm not happy with government at all on this matter. I thought they had long been sacked. We've said, look, at that point where that Farouk Ahmed, when the refinery was when we began production, and he said the products were substandard. He even said Dangote does not even have license.
When NMDPRA itself does not have a functional laboratory.
No, he said Dangote does not even have a license. And he now said, we don't want monopoly. We must continue to import. We got angry that if you want to break monopoly, you have refinery. Government has refineries. Make them work so that you can break the monopoly. For anybody to be insisting on importation as a way of breaking monopoly, the person is saboteur. I'm disappointed at government that these guys hung around till this late, till this period. So if Dangote had not protested as he did this past week, these guys will remain in government fleecing on all of us.
So are you agreeing with Senator Shomole that he's a man that should be hanged?
I won't go that far. But just like Oshobole, I have red wine that night.
You do?
Yes, yes.
You were celebrating.
Not beer.
Okay,
Red wine.
I add you to the list of persons that I think Alhaji Aliko Dangote should send drinks to.
Well,
in addition to special prayers.
I don't even need the drink.
Special prayers.
No, I'm really surprised that government allowed these guys to continue till now, honestly. So they were still hanging around? No. So anyway, I'm happy they are now gone. And I'm also looking for, just like it played out when these other people were to be confirmed, how things have unfolded. I hope they now understand where we should be headed. When we are relying on imports, the jobs go elsewhere, the taxes go elsewhere, everything else goes elsewhere. Our forex is further badly affected. We should focus on how we can expand local capacity. That is what everybody. That's why I say I'm not happy that these guys have hung around until now. I quickly move on to the AFCON. Yeah. When we discussed this a fortnight ago, exactly what I said, my position is what Odegbami and some other people have confirmed. Yeah, Mikel Obi have confirmed. Nigerians should keep the expectations low for this AFCON because there are too many areas, too many flaws, at the back, even Benjamin Frederick, who came to replace Truth Ekong, who had now retired, is also injured, so he's not there. And so the back is shaky. The defensive midfield has some problems. The midfield itself, the creativity and flair we used to have we're not at that level. So it's only at the attack we actually have some advantage. And it's not names that play football. It's, your skill and your commitment.
Primate Ayodele says they should remove Ademola Lookman, that he will not help the team.
Well, I don't know where he's seeing his own vision, but that is just...
these primates, they also have their opinions.
That is just by the way. But you see, the fact is that the team has flaws at almost every department. They are not at that level where a team is going to a competition and then you say, oh, don't worry, they'll bring the cup. And then, like I said, commitment. Congo beat us because they were more committed. You collect ball from Iwobi. Iwobi runs 30 meters and stops. The person that collects ball from him continue running. He was the one that scored. The one they gave ball to was, if he had followed that one, he would have joined Samuel Ajayi and blocked the ball. He ran 10 meters and stopped. And others can continue to run. Only two of them ran and then scored. By now, we would have been at World Cup. So, lack of commitment is another thing. In 2013, when we were in South Africa, we didn't have that much confidence in that team. But we knew the team had commitment. And that was what brought the cup. So, we can only hope for the best, but my advice is that Nigerians should not, they should mellow their expectations. My friend Cairo Jogbo had heart attack in the last Nations Cup that Cote d'Ivoire won and died. Yeah. The people are passionate. Passion should go, people will reduce their expectations. Because even from what Aaron said, from NFF itself, that should be at the top of ensuring that we do well. They can't pay coach and they are making excuses for it. And so many other things they've done wrong in the course of, the past couple of months, qualify for the World Cup and then the Nations Cup. So we wish the Super Eagles all the best, while we make the addendum that those who watch should keep expectations low. If we get to they will qualify from the group, they will move on, but by the time we begin to approach semi-final, final, one can be sure. And that is what I am urging Nigerians to do, keep expectations low. If they now surprise us, we will be happy and say, oh, pleasant surprise. That is my position.
Okay, in terms of record, we've won the Cup of Nations 3 times.
Yes.
And we've won the majority of bronze medals.
Yes.
So maybe.
Sorry, let me just add one more thing. I disagree with Aaron. This 4-year thing, is it Europe that we are playing for? When you have a continent still developing, 2 years is how it should go. Why did they come up with 4 years? That because some clubs in Europe will be angry that our boys are coming to play AFCON, so it has to be 4 years? I don't quite agree with that. Europe should not be the benchmark or the decider of what we do in Africa. The idea is that when football is still developing, we have not got there yet. You know, 2 years helps us to discover talents, to produce, you know, people like Osimhen would not have been known, but for the under 17, and then they moved on. 2 years, and then we'll know more talents. I think that is better. I don't know where they arrived at the decision at 4 years, but I don't think it is the right decision.
Mr. Ologun.
Thank you. And it's great that we've won 3 times. And I want Nigeria to look in the direction of Egypt. I think Egypt already won 7 times. And for Cameroon, 3 times. And 4. Yeah. And Ghana, I think about 3 times. And I appreciate bringing in the concept of talent, character, and oil in the engine. It's very important. We must be determined, because Morocco, that is hosting this tournament, is even hoping to clinch the victory after winning in 1976. So the teams that are coming around are gunning for victory. So we need to put our structure together, put oil in the machine. And, you know, I wish Nigeria the best. It would be a very great one. But again, those lapses that have been associated with the management of our sports in the past, they should work on it. Let there be integrity, let the morale be high, and let there be dedication and commitment on the part of the players. And we know what will activate that. And so that brings me to the issue of the Supreme Court. You see, when you say something is supreme, it means it's the epitome. We all look forward to it. Apart from being the highest court in the land since 1963, people look up to the Supreme Court for justice. I read those various interpretations. And of course, doubtlessly, the president has the power to declare a state of emergency. But again, the law should look at not just the substantive issues, but the symptoms. So perhaps if the Supreme Court now went ahead to x-ray where Rivers State is now, then attention should have been paid to the prompters of those crises that warranted the president declaring the state of emergency. As we speak right now, Rivers State has fully migrated from being a PDP state to an APC state. And these considerations are part of justice. When Lord Heward said that justice should not only be done, but clearly seemed to have been done, he knew what he was saying. And again, talking about precedent, some are apprehensive that going forward, this issue of the ability of the president to suspend the elected governor and House of Assembly, we should look at it critically. And we spoke to it when this happened, that yes, the prerogative to declare a state of emergency is there. But what about this particular situation? Even in human resource management, suspension is just for a while. Yeah, for a while. But how will this be handled going forward? And on the flip side, now what the Constitution says is that you can defect from one party to another if there are crises from the top to bottom. People can intentionally create those crises to move, like we are seeing in PDP right now. So we need to look at all this so that it won't appear as if these decisions are politically motivated. But by and large, we stand by the decisions from the Supreme Court of Nigeria. And again, this is an opportunity for me to mention the fact that the Supreme Court needs to do more. For instance, how far have we gone with the implementation of the local government autonomy? Right now, it's still being dragged here and there. Our judicial institution must be seen to be highly respected by the executive and other stakeholders. And that brings us to the budget. If indeed there are discrepancies from the reforms, tax reforms, and the new tax law that got presented and assented to, and what is gazetted, I think it must be addressed. It's a function of transparency. It's a function of credibility. And I read the presidency denying that, no, there is nothing like that. And the House of Reps members saying, yeah, we have found some discrepancies. Please clear it, because I'm not one of those who are apprehensive about the implementation, because I'm always of the view that when we get to the bridge, we cross it. Because I know Nigerians have been hit with several reforms that quite a number of them are also prepared to see how it will fly. But please, at this level, our leaders should be seen to be reliable so that when they carry out their duties constitutionally, they are seen to be transparent. But how far the National Assembly will exhaust the oversight function on this, we are waiting to see so that it doesn't end up with off your mic, because it will be a serious injustice so that they can quickly do the relevant amendment. And here to Dangote, Dangote is now like Donald Trump. When Donald Trump spoke about insecurity in Nigeria, everywhere started shaking. So Dangote has come now to say, pay attention to the loopholes and the drains in the oil and gas, and I strongly support that. You see, I went back to the history of NNPC. It's now NNPC Limited with various departments. It was established on the 1st of April 1977 to create wealth for Nigeria by managing our resources. But right from that 1977, it's been from one crisis to the other. I recall the first 2.8 billion naira dollars that disappeared from NNPC was in 1977, when Muhammadu Buhari was the minister in charge of petroleum. And that case had no head, no tail until the then President Shagari lost his office. And so here we are now, still the same allegations. But my concern is not even that the man is asked to leave office and come Olafe. The fact that they went to Aso Villa, is that the end of it? Will anyone be prosecuted? Is it just that you carry out these atrocities and you take a bow and go? We must be concerned about the impact of corruption in the land, because maybe in 2 weeks' time, we are reading about another thing entirely. And the government should please realize that the commonwealth of this country is for the common good of the citizens. And we don't need those who are fighting on the economic stage to be the one to set up the accountability mechanism, so that we should not be named as a country that has a poverty profile at all. And on the tax issues, many are apprehensive, really. And so the government should look at how, even when the tax reforms are implemented, how do we translate the benefits to benefits for the majority of the citizens? And that's a huge challenge I'm throwing on the table of leadership.
Okay. I imagine that with the implementation, more revenue will come in.
Absolutely.
The states will get more money, but the states, we have to begin to interrogate them.
Who will
What do
interrogate
the
them?
governors do with the more money that they are getting?
The one from removal of fuel subsidy. Doctor, how far have you interrogated?
No, the people should ask questions.
Who are
the
the
houses
people
of
to ask the
assembly
questions?
should ask questions.
Where? Which House of Assembly? Defecting House of Assembly members?
Well, anyway, very quickly, let's take one more topic. The United States this past week expanded its travel ban, adding several African countries to a list of nations whose citizens are barred from entering the country. Under a new proclamation signed by President Donald Trump, citizens of Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan, and Sierra Leone now face a full entry ban into the United States effective January 1st. The White House said the decision was based on what it described as serious deficiencies in security screening, vetting, and information sharing. The move deepens concerns across Africa over the impact on travel, education, business, and diaspora ties as the Trump administration continues a hardline approach to immigration and border security. And of course, in that list, Nigeria is also included, with very serious implications in terms of reputation, in terms of opportunities for our people. Prof.
Yes, it's unfortunate that Nigeria is on this list, partial ban, and it affects all the visas, B1, B2,
J1.
J1, M, all the, tourists, exchange, all the visas, F is also affected. So what the government has a whole lot to do so that Nigeria can be taken off that list as quickly as possible. Ministry of Foreign Affairs has a whole lot to do to get in touch with the State Department. The Nigerian embassy in Washington, they need to work around the clock to present Nigeria's position. That since the main reason for the partial ban is terrorism, insecurity, possibility of causing insecurity in the U.S., and Nigerians are not known to have been involved in that. There are about 500,000 Nigerians in the U.S. That gives Nigeria a very strong basis to argue that putting Nigeria there in the first place was not right or was not based on facts. And when the facts are presented, just like Turkmenistan, that has been removed from the list after cooperating with the American authorities, presenting facts, Nigeria can follow that route, and hopefully in a short time, Nigeria will be taken off so that we can return to where we used to be. But really, it's a huge reputational damage that Nigeria was put on the list in the first place.
Okay, Mr. Ologun.
Thank you. And it's a challenge for Nigeria also to try and upscale the security profile in the country, because America has given their reasons for listing us. The same, similar to the reasons given for putting us on the list of country of particular concern. So what can we do back at home? This is purely an image and reputation issue in public relations. And when you are now able to present an environment that is, commendable in terms of their expectations, why not? What it means is that we cannot allow you into our country. And interestingly, this is the rub-off effect that we have. So Nigerians are now generalized. And I think our government should find this as an opportunity to tidy home. And that is why I'm interested in what is going on in the insecurity sector. I read a story recently, Doctor, you're likely to have read it, of a police officer who took his life because he was connected to releasing ammunition to bandits from the police armory. So all this, let's clean the house. Is it possible to decimate insecurity in Nigeria? The answer is yes. Do it. Work on your economy. Present a vibrant image to the world, and that opens the gate to you. So if US is saying for now, go and clean up, let's try as much as possible to clean up and communicate it.
I raised a question during the week. I said, if they don't want to give us visa, why can't we reciprocate? And Dr. Kester Ono was saying we are rabbits.
I would agree with that.
One country is more important than the other.
I was the one that actually said that.
Oh, it was you. It was you. It was you. I remember.
It's a matter of Gulliver and the Lilliputians. And that's in Africa, Nigeria is the giant. Others is the Gulliver. The other countries are more or less Lilliputians. But Nigeria versus US is the other way around. Nigeria is the Lilliputian. Just like Barrister Ologun said, it's how you are at home that would reveal how you will be viewed outside. And cleaning up at home is of immense importance.
Thank you very much for reminding me. You are the one saying Nigeria is a rabbit country. Who remember that?
Rabbit and elephant, actually. Anyway. Not rabbit in the absolute sense. I say one is big, the other one is small.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Aworawo. Thank you, Mr. Jide Ologun. I look forward to seeing you again next week. You've been watching This Day Live, the Sunday talk show, here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati from our entire team here in Lagos. It's bye for now, and thank you very much for watching.